What is plagiarism? Here we have a little definition, you could say. Fellow in the early 19th century defined it as the highest form of flattery. Love that, highest form of flattery. Is it flattery? Well, let's find out. There's another opinion, and a fellow analyzer says, it's not really flattery. And he gives 3 reasons for why plagiarism is not flattery. Here they are. It says, plagiarism, plagiarists generally plagiarize because they lack the skill to create the work themselves. Plagiarists try to find a work they can think they won't be likely to be caught with. And plagiarists rarely thoroughly read and understand the materials they grab. I think this all hit all 3 of them right on the nose. I agree with all those 3. I think that's what happens when you plagiarize. Okay, they don't read, they don't understand what they got. They don't think they're going to be caught, and so they try to make usually some money out of it. Okay, now you might say, well, Bill, if I remember correctly, you did some plagiarism of your own, and you served some time for it. Not really, not quite. See, mine was not really plagiarism, and let's discuss that for a second. Here, it's important. It's an important little detail. Okay, let me put this up here. Okay, and so what we have here is, first of all, you have to distinguish between stealing and copying. Okay, one of the issues that came out of my case. Okay, I was hit with a National Stolen Properties Act, a stealing act, federal stealing act, that involved usually when people like, Bonnie and Clyde and John Dillinger, they would take, rob a car, steal a car, and they would take it across state lines. And so they had to put the National Stolen Properties Act to get to all this interstate stuff. Okay, that's why it became a federal crime. And, in the case of the National Stolen Properties Act, it's only valid if you steal from the government, from the U.S. government, from the national government, the federal government. And, I didn't qualify for that, but that's the only tool the prosecutors had at their disposal. But more important than that is that copying is not plagiarizing. Not necessarily. In fact, it's not. Copying is plagiarizing if you do not give credit to the originating party. In my case, I did exactly the opposite. If I would have gone with what I copied, which is Intel and AMD processing technology, if I would have given that, for example, to the Cubans or to the Chinese or the Iranians and just say, look, I came up with all this stuff in my garage. They wouldn't have given me 5 cents. They would have kicked me out of the embassy. No, in fact, quite the contrary. I gave proper credit to both AMD and Intel, said, look, this comes from AMD and this comes from Intel. And that was really an error on my part. I repent to this day that I said that because it didn't come from AMD or from Intel. You say, what do you mean, Bill? Wasn't that technology AMD's and Intel's? Well, that's the next point. First, you have to distinguish what's secret and what is in the public domain. And patents, are in the public domain. You have so much time, so many years of protection for your patent. And after that, anybody can use it and develop upon that. That's the way a patent works. Okay, so, but if you keep it secret, nobody knows what to protect. And so, it's not yours. If someone, copies it and distributes it out there, you're dead. You're dead because you didn't patent it. You have no protection. The only way you're going to get protection is if you disclose it publicly. It's called a patent. Okay, and let me show you this. I was, included in the what is known as the Industrial Espionage Act of 1996. Senator Orrin Hatch of Utah, he invoked my name, saying that that I had given this stuff to China, Cuba, and Iran. Okay, and that I was prosecuted for it, which is another issue. That if you they don't do that with copyrights. You don't go to prison for copyrights, except me. But you get penalized in tort law. Under tort law, you have to pay with your pocket. That's how they punish you. Okay. But the other issue is that Intel and AMD were not the owners. And again, because they did not patent, they did not disclose their processes openly, and so they had no protection from the government. And that's why they had to create that Espionage Act, because they wanted to protect something called trade secrets. Trade secrets. What do you mean trade secret? I mean, a patent is public, not secret. And if it's secret, what are you protecting? I mean, it's like you come up with something in private and you say it's my secret and I'm not going to disclose it to the world. And it turns out, someone close to you finds out about it and discloses it to the world. What recourse do you have? You didn't disclose it to the world. It's not yours. He took it from you. So that's why copyright law and patent law are out there, trademark law. All these laws are out there to protect that person who discloses his secrets to the world. That's the way it works, okay? And imagine here borrowing and stealing versus selling. There's an issue of jurisdiction also from a legal standpoint. I know all this because I had to go through the whole rigmarole, okay? And it turns out that you borrow the car from this friend of yours, and he says, okay, here's the keys, and he'll let you borrow the car. It turns out that you take the car from New York all the way to California and sell it. You made $1 on his car. And the question is, where do you get tried? You'd be tried in New York because that's where you stole it, although it was an issue of borrowing that turned into stealing later when you sold the car, or should you be tried in California where you sold it? Where was the crime committed? And so you get into all these little details in the law, okay? And all this stuff applied in my case. And if you're wondering about good old Donald Trump there, that other fellow there, his name is Diego Suarez. I was asked by the Cuban government to turn him over to the CIA, which I did. And he said, well, Mr. Trump, this is 1992. Okay, and you wonder about these things, okay? He was there with Mr. Suarez, who was turned over as a spy, working with Trump at Mar-a-Lago and all that other stuff. Okay, whatever. Okay, so what are the advantages and disadvantages of trade secrets? Why did they put this law? Well, here are the advantages. Trade secret is not limited in time. Okay, you can keep it forever because it's a secret, right? Continues indefinitely as long as a secret is not revealed to the public. It's a secret, right? Whereas a patent is only in force for a specified time, after which others may freely copy the invention. Okay, so those are the differences there. Trade secret does not imply any registration costs, has an immediate effect, okay, does not require compliance with any formalities. It's a secret. It's yours. Okay, it's just yours. And does not imply any disclosure of the invention to the public. Okay, what are the disadvantages? Okay, here are the disadvantages. Others may be able to legally discover the secret, entitled to use it. Others may obtain patent protection for legally discovered secrets. And the trade secret is more difficult to enforce than a patent. Okay, so you can see what's happening here. So, what happens here, the big problem for corporations like Intel and AMD, especially if you look at it from a national security point of view, is that countries like Russia and China, if you go to the patent office, they go there as well. And if it's public, they don't have to respect the 20-year law and say, well, I'm going to wait 20 years before I do something with it. No, they're going to implement directly into their processes. And so here in this age of information and disinformation, patent law had to change, okay, because national security was at stake. And so to this day, you can't patent stuff like, nuclear weapons and so on, because, some other country might get the little device and say, oh, they have it here at the U.S. Patent Office. Let's go over there and click, take snapshots of it, So that's why they have trade secret law. The other reason is that, and I know this quite well because I worked in the industry for many years, is that, you change the specifications, at least I would say once a week. Different specifications. So the process is continuously changing, okay? And you can't just go to the patent office every time you made a spec change, a process change. And so that's another reason for not patenting processes. So patents are for certain devices that you invent. Maybe you invented the red car instead of the blue car, so you go and patent the blue car, that sort of thing. Trade secrets, a little different. Okay, those have to be handled in a different way, and that's why the law changed. Okay, and some people are now getting 25 years for violating trade secret laws since that the Spying Act of 1996, industrial spying, Chinese especially. because they take all these secrets to China, and China makes advances thanks to the spying. And that's sometimes more important than military spying. You know, if you develop technology, it's it goes very deep. You know, it really can modify things substantially within a certain branch of industry. Okay, just in case, put something here that people like to see. Okay, this is my oven cam. I invented this. Okay, so I put a camera in my oven, and I filmed FBI agent John Grant, who passed away, and he was paying me. And then the FBI could not deny that, you know, that I was working with them. Okay, what could they say? And so I went after the FBI and the CIA, and they went after my wife. And so I had to, you know, we both had to sit at the table, the prosecutor and me, and I had my hands in his nuts, and he had his hands in my nuts. And it was who squeezed first. And so we decided to reach a deal, and I got lenient terms, and they didn't touch my wife, and that was the deal. And the FBI agents didn't go to prison. So it was a good deal for everybody, all around. Okay, and for those of you who are interested, also, there's a documentary on all that stuff known as El Crazy Che. It used to be on Netflix, now it's on Amazon Prime Video. Okay, so you can look it up there and you'll find it. Pretty good movie, Spanish and English, and I guess it's translated into both languages.